Hello, brothers and sisters of the Temple of the Maergjirah. This is Imperator Cain, Tower Master of the Tower of Atrophy. So this is going to be a shorter video, and there won't really be any video to go with it. This is just a recording. There's no reason for a video this time around. The whole point of this video, I had a recent video that I was made aware of. So again, it's another clout chaser that is trying to say that we're a D&D cult, that magical organizations, fraternities, groups, schools, whatever you want to call it, they're trying to claim that there's no point in them at all, and that the Temple of the Maergjirah, above all else, is nothing other than a cult, and everything that within our tradition and our training and our growth is all taken from D&D and role-playing games. So a few things that I want to touch upon here. So having played D&D plenty of times, I can openly say that Dungeons and Dragons has been around for a little while, but it hasn't been around for nearly as long as the occult has. And so saying that everything we have is taken from Dungeons and Dragons makes absolutely no sense. Our blighted lords and ladies are openly available on our website, which will be linked in the description below. You can hop over to the website and go take a look at the different blighted lords and ladies. Put them into Google and put Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder after it. Both of them are not exactly interchangeable. They are different games, but go ahead and put both of them after it. Try it with two different searches. You're not going to find very much. The different entities that we use are more often than not going to be found in Dungeons and Dragons. You might find some crossover. Now, the big crossover that you will find is with demonology and with angels, even with a lot of different spirits and different entities that people work with. Now, why is that? It's because Dungeons and Dragons has grown to be a very, very large game, and the makers of it aren't stupid people, and they pull upon traditional mythology and history to make the game more fun and better. So when you see Asmodeus in Dungeons and Dragons, or when you see commonly known different demons and entities and different spirits, it's because the makers of the game pull upon tradition, history, and mythology. Why wouldn't they? If you're writing a story, people do research for their story. Like any actor, they do research for the part they're playing. Anybody who writes a book generally does good research. Show me where, let's use Lord Zazazel, show me where and how you take Lord Zazazel from having been from Dungeons and Dragons. Or how about Lord Chernobog, a very old deity that actually comes from Slavic tradition? How does that come from Dungeons and Dragons? Now, most of you know him as Marcus McClarty. Most of us inside the tradition know him as Razarith or EAGM or AGM. It's a good friend of mine. He's put out videos on this multiple times already. He's already kind of answered this question a multitude of times, so I'm kind of reverberating what he's already said. So he has another video that's going to be linked in here that goes into more detail than this video is going to go into. He also has a video, I don't know if it's currently up, it was in Defense the Draelith, and it explains, because that's generally where people get the whole D&D, they get the whole D&D concept from, is from the language used of the Draelith. He has a video explaining that in great detail. It's pointless for me to reverberate what he said. And so I'm just going to, if that's up right now, I'm going to link it below. If it's not currently up, I'll work with him. And if we can't get it put back up, I'll see if I either can't get him to upload it or if I can get the notes from it. And if I can put up a separate video of which, and if it does come to that, I will end up editing the description on YouTube and have that put into the description, just so everyone can have a link to it. In regards to someone claiming that occult organizations or groups or esoteric schools don't help you, they're purposeless, I have to call bullshit on that. If we look at multiple different traditions, let's go to Africa. Africa has some of the longest running and living esoteric traditions that you don't just get to learn. You don't get the choice just to learn. You have to be taught, and generally you have to be chosen. Let's go to China. Let's see the difficulty of what it takes to become a Taoist priest. Let's go to Haiti and see what it takes to be initiated into traditional Haitian voodoo. So by saying these traditions don't exist and they're purposeless and they serve no point, that's completely incorrect. Generally, they have knowledge that isn't shared publicly. So they do have private knowledge, just like colleges have private knowledge. Some things, yes, you can find it, but can you teach it in the same way a professor can teach it? You know, people tend to go to the gym, and the reason they tend to go to the gym when they have a gym membership compared to working out at home is because people tend to feel more obligated because they're paying for something and they're part of something, but it's also more than that. Generally, people don't understand it, but the energy that's also in the gym that people feel compared to working out at home, it's a certain energy you tap into when you're there. Most people that go to the gym will tell you they feel different when they work out of the gym compared to at home. It's that specific energy that they're tapping into that they don't realize. When you train with other people, when you develop these relationships with other people, when you learn from other people inside of an esoteric group, you're developing similar relationships. You're developing bonds that go very, very deep with like-minded people. To say that working with an organization with someone that's already figured out what you want isn't going to be helpful, that makes no logical sense whatsoever. There's a Sanskrit term, I forget the name, but the concept is that you, as an individual, before you start learning, you are an opaque jewel. You are a clear gem. Ideally, the teacher that you learn from can take you and put you over their gem, and you'll take on what they have. And ideally, you'll take it on faster than they did. You'll learn quicker and you'll learn faster, and you'll be able to skip through their mistakes. Yeah, you could pick up some books. Some people don't put the initiatic blinds in there. Some authors were really well known for putting initiatic blinds into what they do, into what they write. And then some weren't. You can pick up books and you can try learning, and you might fail. You probably will fail multiple different times. Or you can learn from someone who's already failed, who can try to guide you. Or like us as an organization, you can learn from a multitude of people. You can ask tons of questions that you don't have the answers to. You don't have to think you have the answer. So to say an organization isn't helpful, I'd like to see your logic behind that, because that makes absolutely no sense. In cult calling, I've already done a video, which will also be linked here. In no way do we qualify as a cult. In absolutely no way do we qualify as a cult. Somnus Dreadwood, his name also being Eric, that's his actual name, is no longer part of the Temple of Maergjirah. He is not part of the group. He chose self-exile originally, and then he was removed from the group by Razarith himself. He was completely removed from the group. He has no ties. He has no connections. He took his books that were being published. He removed his books. He has absolutely zero tie to what is being done. So to say anything about this group and it had Somnus Dreadwood or somebody did this or they did that, that's condemning every organization that had one person that did something that was fallible, which again makes no logical sense. It definitely seems like the people that are clout chasing for this is nothing. It's nothing more than clout chasing itself. It's trying to get something and trying to get publicity and trying to start drama. For future recording and for future responses, me and the other tower imperators and Razarith himself, we can't afford the time that's necessary for us to have to go through and record videos and record responses and send emails and do all these things consistently when it happens so frequently. We all have very busy schedules. Most of us work full time. We handle orders, we handle consultations. We're basically working a separate job on top of it. And that doesn't even count in the emails and different questions we help and respond to. And so it is important that you know that just because you might make a video, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a response, and you're not going to get the clout chasing that you're looking for. That's all. The links will be found below. Again, thank everybody for tuning in and taking time to listen to this. And I apologize I had to take time out of your day to listen to something that's already been said multiple times, but obviously isn't getting through to some people. Infernal blessings, brothers and sisters, and you have a wonderful evening.